Chuck the aircon on, mate. Give me 1 sec. It's bloody heating up in here.
Hello and welcome to Supercoach Swordplay for what is the Geelong team preview. And really keen for this one. I've had Shorty a couple of times on the channel, and what better time to get him on for the Cats? Should be good. Really looking forward to this discussion, man. There's actually quite a few players that are in the mix for selection, particularly in the back line. A couple of mid prices too. Before we get into it, man, how are you travelling, mate? You have a good weekend?
Yeah, good weekend, mate. Yeah. Had a little birthday party Friday night, a couple of beverages, and just taking it pretty easy today, mate. Like we were saying before we jumped on, just got a few of that life admin type of stuff to do. So I'm in no rush today. Just taking it pretty cruisy. How are you?
Yeah, very well, mate. Very well. Bit of breaking news. People were setting this up. We've just seen that Jagger's done his ACL literally about 2 minutes before we recorded this.
Yeah.
I sort of checked my phone for my notes, and then it just popped up first thing I saw on my Facebook. So the carnage has really hit. So maybe there's a few Geelong boys in the mix here that can, like your Knevitt types, that can be in consideration. So we'll discuss that. But should be good, man. Now, before we get into it, before we rip into this podcast, I have to ask you, mate, have you got a story for us? That's what you're known for. I've thrown you under the bus here. This is definitely a question without notice. I have not told her.
He's just thrown one at me. Wow, hey.
I was laughing with DR about it before we set it up. He's like, I should ask you if you've got a story. I won't even tell him. But
I do like a story. Let me see. Look, I think I've got one for you. I have told it. I've told it on my YouTube channel, but it might be some fresh news for some. But have I told you about my escapades in the kitchen with my elite cooking skills? Does that ring any bells, or is this fresh info to you?
I think it might. I think if you tell it, it'll start to click. But there's probably many viewers that are not aware of that. So
exactly.
Fire away, man. Because I've had some disastrous turnouts in the kitchen. I'm telling you that. So I think I'll be able to relate to you.
I'm definitely not known for my expertise in the kitchen, so I keep it pretty basic. And the slow cooker meal is right in my wheelhouse. You know, what can go wrong, sort of thing. So I was probably a month or so ago. I was like on holidays, getting a bit motivated. So I did some meal prep. I was like, I'll do some meatballs in the slow cooker, a bit of spaghetti, and just throw it all in there, and this will keep me going for 5 days. Made heaps of meatballs. You always do too much, right? So I had leftover meatballs. Anyway, I cooked all these meatballs up in the slow cooker, put a couple of meal preps in, and still had probably 6 or 8 raw meatballs left over that I just put in the freezer with all my other meal preps. And so the week goes on. I'm loving the meatballs. I actually tasted all right. I'm thinking, Jesus, Shorty's outdone himself here. And look, the week or so went on. I was just eating them all. And I don't know what was going on, but I thought out these other meatballs and was just like, yep, that'll be lunch tomorrow. Clearly, I wasn't thinking too quick. And maybe this is why people label their meal prep. I don't know. But I've thawed these out, put them in the mic, and I was like, it's so dumb, right? But these weren't cooked. And I haven't even noticed, with the sauce and all this sort of stuff. And I mic'd them up, and I'm feeling like these aren't as I feel like the other ones were way better than this, bit of extra crunch going on. But it's all induced with the pasta and the sauce. So I'm not getting a great look at the balls, but geez, that out of context sounds a bit interesting. But the long and the short of it was, mate, I've hoed into 3 raw meatballs and haven't thought anything of it until later that night where, look, it wasn't the full works, but my stomach was not feeling great. And it was not feeling great. It was only until the other day that my sister was like, oh, are you going to chuck those in the air fryer or what? I'm like, huh? What do you mean? The meatballs. And then I was like, shit, I had ones left over, didn't I? I didn't cook the whole batch. So look, I don't know how you do that, mate. I don't know how you do it, but I've smashed 3 raw meatballs and had a little vomit in the toilet that night.
Oh, so, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, Shorty on the first date, we'll be going out for dinner. You know, we won't be cooking, I don't think.
And I'd probably keep that one to yourself too. You can probably explain it after a few dates. Like, look,
Yeah.
I've got to come clean with you. You know, I fucked up.
Yeah. Like every time I retell it, I'm like, how do you make that mistake? But I was just like on holidays. I was just cruising. I didn't even think anything of it. So bad, mate.
That's unreal. I have heard that one before because I do watch your channel quite a fair bit, and I think it does sound familiar, but still just the same reaction as when I first heard it. I'm sure there's many here that haven't heard that one before.
Crazy
but
times.
I guess the lesson is when you're doing your meal prep, make sure that your meat's cooked before you put it in your containers, and it might save a bit of food poisoning. So
bloody
there's lessons to be learned, not only in Supercoach but in life as well, and that's one of the kitchen ones that we can take on board.
100%.
But no, that's an absolute pisser, mate. That's what a great start. The rest of the podcast should be absolutely smooth sailing now. If,
can't get
we've
worse
got
than
that one out of the bag.
Yeah,
but. How about we smash into it? So the Geelong preview. So this is going to be really good. Like real quick before we get into it, our guide has come out. It released I think 2 days ago. So feel free to. We don't even need to pre-order it anymore. It's literally here, Supercoach Christmas. So make sure you get around that. I think we've sold like 200 copies already, which is absolutely insane. 200 was our goal, and now I think we're not quite there yet, but we're bloody close. It could be 200 by the end of the day. So. It's been really good. So massive thank you to everyone that's gotten around it. And I can't wait. I haven't had a look at it myself, but I can't wait to read it because obviously some carnage has happened. I need to weigh up some more rookies to bring in for Jagger.
You've done well. Good work,
boys.
No,
awesome. It's been crazy. And I think you've got a section in there as well, don't you, Shorty?
Yeah.
Involvement. Everyone's had a little bit in there, which is just so great. Like an unreal thing for the community. I think obviously like the featuring down here, you can't really see it too well, but that's everyone that's had a piece of it. So it's the holy grail of Supercoach, mate. Like you're not going to get any more information anywhere else. It's like 400 pages. It's ridiculous. So make sure you order that. But we'll get stuck straight in. So rehab room, mate, is there any carnage at the Cats? Anything you want to sort of elaborate on?
Nothing too much. Like, I mean, Toby Conway is out for a bit. You know, a few people would have noticed that. I think in my first team for this preseason, I had him in. You know, a bit speculative, but had high hopes. But he'll miss a bit of footy.
That might help somebody that we will talk about very soon.
Definitely. But otherwise, I think Cam Guthrie's just coming along slowly. But I don't think many are actually considering him. So there's a bit to talk about.
Career in the rehab room. Guthrie. It feels like he's been in rehab since 2019. So
it does feel like that.
Get his body right eventually and get back in the side. But not too much carnage at the Cats. They usually manage the team really well. You've got to love how they go about it. But on the flip side, who's burning it up? We know I know Bailey Smith's been going really well. I mean, obviously turned it over a little bit in that Pracky match, but having a full preseason. Is anyone else that you think, like anyone underrated that you wouldn't think is having a really good preseason? Breakout contenders?
I mean, look, I think Max Holmes hasn't put a step wrong by the looks of it. For a guy that's had a few issues with the body, I think that'll give people a bit of confidence. Another guy we'll talk about, Mitch Knevitt, by all reports, has had a fantastic preseason and really looking to step up into that senior team. But it's probably no real surprises. I think there's quite a pretty sharp hit out the other day. I was pretty pleased with it. But Shannon Neal's probably another one, actually, who's had a big preseason. He's probably a guy, not that we'll look at him for Supercoach, but he's probably one that's been like, it's time to really make this centre-half forward, full forward position my own.
Yep. No, you look good. You always find like raw talent out of nowhere, like bottom end draft picks, like SPP selections. It doesn't matter where you get them from. They play a role. And like Lawson Humphries, mate, I think, what was he? Was he like pick 60? I feel he's like one of the last picked in the draft.
He definitely was, like somewhere between 50 and 60, I reckon. Yeah,
ridiculous. He's
I know.
400K like after a rookie season. He's made more money than bloody Sam Welsh did in his first season.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just doesn't. It's nuts. It really is. But I think all reports a lot of players are burning up, which makes the rest of the podcast really interesting. So we'll dabble into the kick-ins just before we jump into the defenders. So no real surprise, like Tom Stewart obviously being the main man there. Zach Guthrie here. I know there's a lot of mouths to feed in that defense. There's no real designated kicker. It does variate. But do you reckon anyone will progress in kick-outs, Shorty, or you reckon there's anyone here that'll lose kick-outs? Like, what do you think Tom Stewart's probably?
I don't think so. Like, obviously, Tui retires, so there's some kickouts that'll be spread across the rest of them. Humphries will go up that list simply by playing more games, but not really. We're not really a side where you'll see some teams, they grab the footy and they just drop it in the goal square because we need our main guy kicking it out. We're not really one of those teams. It's more of, it's more often than not probably a Stewart or a Zach Guthrie or Duncan when he's playing. But no, there's no real designated guy where it's like, no, throw that to him, mate. He's taking him. So it tends to spread it around a bit.
Yep. I think Humphries is probably the one that goes up a little bit. Because his ball use is just so good. Obviously, we just spoke about him, but for going to be a second-year player, I don't think there'll be any second-year blues about him. Wait, is this his second year or third year? I swear
it is his second year. It is his second year,
Ridiculous.
And I think he'll dodge. Like, obviously, we'll talk about him a bit more, but he'll dodge a bit of those second-year blues because he is 21. Like,
he's not young. Like he's not like
nearly 22. Yeah.
Yep.
So he's ready to go. So. Yeah.
Yep. So he's the one that I think will go up. I think Holmes obviously pushes up the ground a bit more. There's plenty of talk about more mid-minutes for him. So probably a decrease in kickouts, but like a scoring avenue to improve in another position, which what makes him so relevant. And we got him here. So a 533K. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't had him in my team at times. I had him maybe last week. I just trialed him out. I didn't really want to pay for Whitfield. That D2 is open for me. Like I'm pretty locked with like Sheasel and Clark. Really comfortable with them. Have been since day dot. With the amount of carnage and lack of options in defence, I'm really scrambling and looking to target that third premium. And at the moment, it is Nas, but it has been Holmes. And the only reason I got Nas over Holmes is because of the bye. So that's obviously frustrating because Geelong do have that bye and they share it with Sydney as well. So there's your Callum Mills factor. And it does make it tricky. So have you got Max Holmes, mate? And if you do, is there anything you really want to sort of elaborate? Because I'm super interested. I think everyone else is too because he's right in the mix, mate. Right in the gun.
Yeah, look, he's been in my side from the start, I must admit. He's been a guy that I've been really confident on. Took that breakout from like 79 to 99 last year. And I think we'll see a bit of an increase as well. Because like those numbers said before, bit of halfback, bit of midfield last year. But he's the guy now in the midfield. We're even seeing Paddy sort of pass that baton on. Dangerfield's probably going to play a bit more time forward and inject himself into the midfield at times where gone are the days where it was like that Geelong midfield is Selwood and Paddy. It's Holmes and Smith now. Like it's their midfield. And you could mount the case that the hamstrings are concerned, and that's fair. It's clearly bothered him in the past, but couldn't have had a better preseason. I think he's just such a damaging player, and we love damaging guys. Like sometimes in the midfield, you'll have those players where you're like, gee, he's got to have it 35 times to score well. Holmes only needs it 25 because you'll see that meters gained stat. He'll be high up on that so often. And he's a very, very good player, and I think he's going to get a full year in the mid, and I expect him to take it to sort of 105, 110 sort of areas, which would be very handy for myself.
Oh, mate, I'm so bullish on him. I love how he goes about it. He's so damaging. He's just a freak, like racks it up, but uses his speed as well. He's literally a halfback flanker, like turn mid. So explosive and reminds me a lot of Dangerfield, like a young Dangerfield. So it's the perfect guy for him to pass the baton down to. And
Yeah.
preseason stats are there to back it up. So, like, we've got second here for CBAs versus the Hawks. I think it was behind Knevitt, who got plenty of opportunity, but still 103 fantasy. We didn't get access to Supercoach scoring because it was just a random practice match. But we've got Woodsy on Twitter who's been doing some unreal stuff. So we've been following him, and I don't know how he does it. He must just put pen to paper and write down every stat as the game goes on. But we've got 103 fantasy here in 3 quarters, which that in a full game for Supercoach is pretty good. I don't know what fantasy to Supercoach is. Supercoach is obviously more points. So that's probably like 110, 115 Supercoach right there if it's 103 fantasy.
Yeah.
And that's 3 quarters, mate. So no mucking around for Maxi. And I'd love to grab him in my team. But the reason I don't have him is because, well, I've got rid of Travalia because I don't know if he's going to really set the world on fire. He's pretty elevated. But brought in Sullivan, who I really like for Geelong. We'll talk about him in a moment. But Mills there too. All of a sudden, you're looking at 3 buy players for round. I think it's round 4, and that's only in defence. So, like, even that's a donut without DPP. So, at the moment, Holmes is not there, but that's literally the only reason. It's got nothing to do with him as a player at all. It's just sort of how things have panned out. So we'll see what happens if there's any other rookies we get or any other carnage that comes up. Could really put him back in the mix to be selected by my team. But I love the pick, mate. I really do. I think he's every bit to send it up the order.
Yeah.
So, and look at the value, like 533K. He's definitely putting his hand up for a top 6 defender spot. And like, yeah, you discussed his hamstring issues that he's had, and look, touch wood that it doesn't happen. But look, if it does, hopefully he's made you that money, and he's close to 580, 600K, just going absolute tear, and at least you've made a bit of money off him too. So you've got that security. Because I just don't see a world where he goes below that price point, particularly with the form that he's been in the preseason that he's had. So all over him, mate. I really like him as a pick, and
for sure.
To your gut.
I think he's sort of at the start of that runway. You know, we're looking at like a guy like Clayton Oliver. Can he get back to his best? And like Jack Steele in the past, can he get back to his best? I feel like Holmes, his best is absolutely in front of him. And just take a little look at the 2 finals he played. I love a guy who performs in finals. He scored 150 and I think 76 in a touch over half a footy. Obviously that third quarter he was getting assessed for the hammy. It didn't come back, but and then he had a great pracky game as you mentioned. So I think he's ready to go, ready to rumble, I think.
Yeah, no, really, really bullish on him. And I can't wait to jump on him after his bye. Hopefully I can start him, but it's the Mills factor, mate. If I'm starting Mills and Sullivan, I just can't have 3 players with a bye. That's the only problem. But other than that, I absolutely love the pick.
Yep.
Tom Stewart, a veteran defence. He's been so reliable for so long. 31 years old now, so it's getting to that age where it could raise concern. Is there going to be any sort of regression? He still takes the kickings. We went over that. Will he play down back? Will he have that role in the midfield still? I'd say I'm not really sure. And is he still relevant? What do you think, Shorty? You considering Stewart at all? Have seen him in a couple of teams, not many, but
considering. But look, he'll play down back for sure. Like he'll settle down back. But I think it'll be a bit of a replay of last year where if he's getting tagged and he's struggling with it, I think they might try and lose that tag by throwing him into the centre bounce. I think that's probably the tactic because he certainly struggled with that. And that's probably been my main drawback. I don't really like starting a premium that I know has a really clear weakness. Like he got shut down big time when he got attention put into him, and they eventually found a way to deal with it. But I don't know. I'm not absolutely
game in it. Port Adelaide, the McEntee tag from the start of last year. I think it's a bit dramatic, but it feels like that's the game that ended like Tom Stewart. He's still a gun, but in terms of like real Supercoach relevance, because 520K, like there's some real good options in defence for that price.
Yeah.
You've even got like Roberts and Sicily as well, a little bit. I think Sicily's a bit more expensive, but like, it's hard to see like that much value because is he going to be top 6 to 8 defender. Like, I probably don't think so, but I still think he'd be a solid pick. But I can't see that enough value in it. I'd rather go down for someone a bit more value, or pay a little bit up for someone I think is going to be, like, for instance, like Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira, not much more at all. But I genuinely think he's top 6. I really do. I believe that he's unbelievable this preseason, and he's the main man back there. So that's the problem I have with, like, starting to Tom Stewart. I feel like there's sort of other options around him, but he's been a warrior for us for bloody years, mate. How good is he?
Isn't he? I think
season.
he'll average over 100. Like, I think he'll average over 100 for sure. But yeah, whether that's top 6, top 8, I just think for me, it's almost that process of elimination. I love Holmes. I love Mills, much like you said. And, you know, even into Koning or an O'Sullivan, and all of a sudden you're like, I just can't, you know. And I sort of hate having those premiums where you're at the game and you're like, oh, God, they're tagging him. Yep, they've sent someone to him. And you almost feel like, well, we're in for a tough day, you know, where if you've got Bont or whoever it might be, it's like, sure, tag him. Like, he finds a way. Like, he works through it. So I don't like entering it with kind of that, like, a clear kryptonite on him. So happy to, hold off, let him have his bye, see how he's handling the tag. He wouldn't be the first player to struggle with a tag initially and work through it. But I think it'd be probably best investment would be to wait and see if he can work through it. Yeah.
We did lose a lot of those ceiling scores from, like, 2022, 2023 last year. We didn't see too much of it. It was pretty consistent for the most part. Didn't get tagged too often, but we didn't see much of a real ceiling, which is just the nature of how he's changed. So, yeah, I'm happy to pass on Stewart, but you've got to give the kudos to Stu, and he's been unreal for a long time. But I'd be very surprised if I saw him in my side anytime this year. And on the flip side of that, someone who's probably on the rise, particularly for kickouts, we discussed him before, Lawson, Humphries, a very talented player, but it's an awkward price in there. It's your Matt Roberts territory. Like, you're almost paying up for a keeper. Would you go down? Look for a Mills type or like a Blight? It's a tricky price. Can he boost his average up by 15 to 20 points? And Shorty, is there any interest in this player?
Genuinely no. Like, I'm excited about him, and as a Cats fan, love him. But I couldn't sit here and say I've got genuine interest in him. No, I think at that price, it's just so awkward, and he'd really. At that price, you really got to elevate yourself, not just a big more level, like you said, 15, 20, but you got to do it straight away. And there's a lot of pressure on those first 6 to 8 weeks, you know, or even 4 to 6. If he doesn't start the year well, you get nervous and you're pulling the trigger anyway. So he could, I think he uses the ball so well, which means he doesn't have to have 30 to score well. But I just don't know. That next practice game for the Cats will be interesting, but if you look at other guys in other lines around that price, like that price, you want them to be like, they're exploding. Like McRae, you just feel like, rolls there, he's going to go nuts. Bailey Smith, going to go nuts. And even like someone, for me, like a Will Ashcroft, I'm like, he's ready to go. Like, he's 440, but he's going, he could really improve, but I couldn't see him going 20 points up. Maybe, I think he'd be in and around the 90, early 90s, I think. Best case.
Yeah, that price is really awkward. There's Perryman, who could be a really good shout in defence. Obviously, gone to Collingwood. He's around that mark. He could be playing some midfield. So there's also, we touched on, like, Matty Roberts too. I mean, he was the number 1 averaging player in the last month of last year, like just slapping 150s and 60s out for fun. So can he carry on his way? Another one that's got the same buy, but he's, not too much more. He's like 434K. You pay another 15K for someone that genuinely has a lot more upside. But Humphries is one where I think, like, if you had like a draft team and you sort of scrambling a bit, he could be one where you just have him there at like D5 or 6, and he just does his thing. So I don't mind him, but probably one for the future. Had to be mentioned though, because he's had such a good season. But this is one that does appeal a bit of interest. So it's not just him, but it's, you got Carl Mills. People know how big iron with plantar fasciitis. I had it myself. It sucks and it lingers
Mm.
for bloody ages. And I get in the AFL program, they manage it a lot better than I probably did. So Mills is a tricky one. Will he get up? I'm not sure. Watch him round 0. If he doesn't get up, there's SDK right here, similar price, a little bit more, I think. But he could be the number one man in the ruck. So, yeah, obviously it's the awkward buy. He's put on 7.5 kilograms and playing ruck in match sims. Is Chris Scott baiting us, mate? Is he just trying to throw a bit of bait at us fantasy and Supercoach tragics? Because, gee, the interest level is high. Not in my team, but yeah, it wouldn't take much convincing to get me in. And he could get DPP, a defender ruck. We've seen that before from, I think, Blitzarves. I don't know what it is with Geelong and defender rucks. It's a weird one. But Shorty, mate, is SDK any interest for you? And can you see him entering your team anytime soon?
Yeah, like honestly, a lot of interest. Makes me very nervous, the whole thing. But
takes one move of the magnets and it's all over. Game's done.
I know. Like, look, there was a patch last year where he did. Remember that game where the two Konings rucked against each other, and like Sam got smashed, but he actually scored 130. It was bizarre. He had 20 and actually did all right. And there was a 5-week patch there where he rucked as the number one guy, and he averaged 95. So it's very small sample size, but yeah, clearly the concern for me. Yeah, he did ruck the sole number one guy in the first half of the practice match, but then he did go and play full back for certain parts of the game too. So what worries me is that, as you say, those magnets and Chris Scott, you've got Stanley.
He's so shifty. He's
I know.
The shiftiest coach with those magnets, mate. I'm even scared to pick Bailey Smith. I mean, have a spell this week, mate. On the wing, you go.
Yeah, I know. Like in anticipation of talking about this guy, I had a look at some of our early matchups, and I think the Koning's that mobile, athletic type of ruck. And Geelong play Brisbane opening round. Don't need to worry about that. Then we play Freo. He's probably up against Jackson or Reedy. Don't worry about that. Then we've got Marshall, bye. Then Max Gawn after the bye. And then they've got Adelaide and then Lloyd Mead.
Then. Like he's lowered his break even and increased his security. But it's more when does Conway come back? That's one of the main questions. Yeah. Do you know where he's at with his fitness? I'm not really sure the extent of the injury because there's one I just haven't really paid any attention to. But that's got a lot of relevance.
He'll be a non-factor for the early parts of the year. Like something with his back. I don't have a stack of info on it, but at the best of times, Geelong go the extra mile with giving these guys time and wrapping them up in cotton wool. And Conway's like their prized possession, who's had a long injury history. If he features at AFL level before the mid-season of the year, I'll be stunned. I think it's probably more about when Geelong play a Rowan Marshall or Max Gawn. Is Chris Scott sitting in that sort of match discussion and team selection meeting saying like, this is probably when we need Reece to give him a chop out, you know, that bigger experienced body. That's what concerns me.
So I forget he's even on a list. I didn't even think about Stanley. It's just like Conway. If Conway's not in the team, like Koning's going on a tear, but you've genuinely got Reece Stanley, who I can't believe. I cannot believe he is still running. But
I know
he's a factor. So
bizarre year last year from Stanley too, because he played like in the finals and that. But late last year he got dropped and he was out of favour. That's when Koning got this opportunity. But yeah, things just change for no real reason. Like obviously there is that deeper reason that we can't really know being on the outer. But I think there's a world where he averages extremely well. But there's also a world where it's a nightmare pick. Thursday night comes round. We check the teams. Oh, my God, they've named Reece Stanley, you know. Like, Reece doesn't play anywhere else. If Reece is named, he's bloody rucking, you know. So,
yeah,
concerns me a lot. And it could work the other way. We've talked about the rucks. It could work, geez, big key forwards. Gee, Sammy's got a good record on, you know, whoever it might be. Let's throw him back. So, it's got to be hugely risky pick, but I'm interested.
It's unbelievably risky. It's one of those ones where, yeah, if Mills doesn't get up, he's in the mix. And we get another look. He does have. This will be a really good matchup, actually. So this Tuesday he's got Essendon, who you wouldn't think so, but they're actually extremely restrictive towards rucks. So if Koning can score well, because we double team like we've always done it, we got up, we undid English last season with it was the Goldstein Draper combo, but this year it looks like it's going to be like the Draper Bryan combo, and Draper playing a bit more forward. So if Koning can put like a ton up against those two, I'm really interested because that's a massive effort. Because that's what we do. We don't have the best ruck set up, but we use two because we like to sort of tire out the opposition. So, yeah, I want another week to assess it. And if it doesn't look like Mills is going to get up or he pulls out a shocker in round 0, I'm extremely interested because it's I can't have both of them. They're both the same price. It's too awkward. They're both at the same buy. Doesn't work. It's one or the other. But, yeah, if Mills doesn't work out, I could definitely consider Koning coming into my team. But it's a wait and see. We do have more information on him as well. So a career average of 60 to 68, averaging 67.2 in 2024. So that raises alarm bells. They're obviously centre half back days and great defender as well. Just no good for Supercoach. So looking like he may secure the #1 ruck role. Obviously, from all reports, he beat Stanley in the ruck from the other day and matched him, which isn't hard, to be fair. I haven't read this before. I don't know who's right this, but obviously someone's got a grudge against Reece Stanley, mate.
Yeah. That's good.
Look, there's there, and that's not surprising. Obviously, they probably do play Koning over Stanley. But as you alluded to, mate, there is every bit of chance that they put the Thursday night team sheets and Stanley's named and you're sitting there tearing your hair out. So it's a lot of stress.
Stressful, man. Yeah, stressful.
Mate. But yeah, it could be a great option as a flex position. So I don't mind that too, particularly like the lack of defense options. It's good to sort of stack your side with a bit more security. If anything does go wrong, if he gets DPP, he can average close to his brother. I don't think he can, but I think he can go all right. And the price is an absolute steal. If he's playing in defense, he is a no-go, which is the obvious one. So high risk, high reward in summary for Sam Koning. Is he in my team? No. Will he be in my team? Maybe. It just depends what happens for the next week or two. I just want to see it myself. I need another watch on him. But it looks good.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
He looks good. Conor O'Sullivan. So rookies in defense, extremely hard to come by. Leaks shit the bed. He doesn't look like the pick. I still want to start him just because he's got like that round 2 bye. I do need a loop, so that could be a risky move. Travalia didn't quite set the world on fire yesterday. Things are really, really slimming up here in defense. So Conor O'Sullivan, mate, he looked really good. I didn't see too much of the game, but when I did, I like his disposal. Extremely elite by foot. I did see something. I think it was a Fox Footy predicted starting 22, and O'Sullivan was right there at halfback, which caught me off guard. I didn't expect that. We know what Chris Scott's like with the Magnets, particularly the rookies. So there's a bit of risk attached to it. Is he our D5, D6 saviour? Is he a lock for Vest 22? And can he score well enough as an on-field option? I think he can. So I've actually got the numbers here. I did a bit of research with this one. So obviously I've got to give Woodsy another shout out here, but he had the fantasy. So 82 fantasy O'Sullivan got. So that's almost that's like a 90, 95 in Supercoach. Can't recollect how many touches he had, but he looked good. And we do need rookies. So he's in my team at the moment. Have you got him in your defense?
Yeah, he is in my team. He's definitely in my side. Like, just probably that intercept marking ability. Like, I don't think just having a bit of a look at his VFL stats now, just to refresh the memory, like most of his games, granted he was first-year player, most of his games are probably between your 12 and 18 possession mark, and that's at VFL level. But so he's probably a lower possession type, but a bit of higher impact from a scoring sense because he will just bite off those easier, effective kicks down back, and he'll hit a lot of targets, and he'll float in like he did in the practice match and take some intercept marks. But I mean, given it's a very strong Geelong back line, there's got to be some doubt. Like I've got him in my round one team, absolutely, but there's obviously pressure for spots if he doesn't start well. But I've got to say at the moment, I think he probably is one of the best candidates for a D5 or D6 and around the rookie. So, very accomplished performance, a former round one pick, first round pick for the Cats. So, likely type, I think. I'm excited to see him play.
No, I can't wait. Yeah, he looks grouse, and I think he could be the real Tom Stewart replacement. Obviously, we've seen him being pushed into the midfield a lot more, and like Humphries is sort of that distributor. But in terms of, we know Geelong are notorious for having that extra one long down the line, particularly at GMHBA, there's tighter boundaries, a lot of turnovers, particularly on that wing. So could definitely see him just chilling there and having a real impact.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see. If he's named, I think I'll pick him. Do you reckon he's any real sub risk? Particularly, you got Zach Guthrie in the mix too. There's a lot of like mouths to feed. You see someone you could see that get the vest, which wouldn't be ideal, but
I'd be pretty surprised if he was involved as a starting sub, but potentially if he was struggling or being a taller type, he could get subbed off perhaps it all depends, how the game's going and what Geelong need and what the matchups are doing. So, he might be the occasional sub off, but that's really hard to predict, I suppose. Yeah. So we've just got to roll the dice there. But, no, he's a likely type. Like he just has when a player just has that nice knack of just floating in and timing the ball at the top of its mark and just grabbing, he looked very, very solid, albeit a high, no pressure sort of, or a lack of pressure practice game. But, he couldn't have put a better foot forward, really. He looked pretty solid.
No, he did. So, very excited to see how he goes against the Dons. And if he looks good again, I think we'll lock him in.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, then it's going to get really tough because we're running out of options in defence. So we really need him to get up. And there's a massive pod as well. I mean, when I jumped on him, he was like 2% owned. No doubt those numbers have gone up by now. But we'll wait and see. He's a good prospect, and he should be a good pick.
It's a bit of a double whammy. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, mate, it's a bit of a double whammy with the defenders down back with the rookies because we're also light on with mid prices too. Like, there's not as many 200, 300K guys. So, it's hard to know how to approach that back six. So we need some guys to come through.
It's almost like putting Blight at D5 and then fielding like a Sullivan and an Allen on that's probably what it might take, which would that's thick in defense, but might need to be that way this year. We're definitely scrambling. But we've got the mids now, so we'll look at the CBAs. A lot of defenders. That was all just defenders. Unbelievable. This podcast has just been a Geelong defense presentation in a nutshell. So midfield, I don't think there's too many real relevant mids. So the CBAs from last year, I think obviously Conway will go down. You think SDK charges up? Stanley's there too. Dangerfield. I think it's obviously going to be Holmes that steps up a little bit here, carries a bit more of the load. Like Parfit's not even there anymore. Atkins is. There's a few mouths to feed. So
I think you'll see probably Holmesy and, like I mentioned before, Bailey Smith being the main guys with maybe a defensive type mid like an Atkins or maybe a Blitzarves involved in a centre bounce. And I still think, even though all the talks, Paddy's going to play a bit forward. Yeah, he probably will, but he's still
primarily mid.
Yeah, still when he's fit, he's still one of the blokes that just attacks the footy ridiculously and is super important for us. So, there's a few of those like bit part players like a Bruin and Atkins, Bowes. Mitch Knevitt's probably a guy that is going to want to see his name on that board.
He will jump up.
towards the higher end. Yeah.
Yep.
It's more of
Mitch
like,
Knevitt for sure. He's a big one. Really looking forward
yeah.
to seeing him
So
play.
so that'll be a watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so much will change, but it's a good segue because we do have Knevitt next, and he's been locked on my bench all preseason. The only thing that really alarmed me was only the 72 fantasy from the 18 touches and number 1 for CBAs as well. So couldn't have had any more opportunity, but didn't quite like it's a great score, but for that much midfield, you probably want a little bit more than 72 fantasy. So it's a funny one. We'll see how he goes. But I saw something from Knevitt that was a massive green flag in Supercoach. But he genuinely said I can't wait to be a highly owned Supercoach team. Like if you play Supercoach, pick me. It was an article on the Supercoach page, and that really appealed some interest. And then obviously watching him play against the Hawks, the number 10 was always on the screen. Didn't always get the ball, but the opportunity was there, and that's all we care about in Supercoach. We just look for that opportunity, and the midfield's carnage. I mean, how many options are there under Knevitt's price? There's literally nothing. You got Max Hall, 119k. He's in the mix, mid forward. Erasmus is there too. You got Gross. I don't think Erasmus plays, to be honest. He doesn't barely been in my team. I'm not confident on him. So you're sort of looking. I'm looking at these Knevitt Kako types, these elevated rookies, just on my bench to accumulate cash. And I think Knevitt probably plays, but you'd have a bit more of an idea on him than I would, being a Geelong man. Do you see Knevitt having a bit more job security and getting that midfield opportunity that we're sort of hoping for in 2025?
Well, yeah, it's honestly he's sort of surprised me about how much buzz has been around him this preseason. Like I said with O'Sullivan before, sometimes guys just come on and they just look like they're at the level and they just seamlessly do it. Knevitt's probably been the opposite for me. I've probably felt that he hasn't looked established at AFL level and his ball use worries me and all that. But then he's had this huge preseason. They've given him this opportunity with the CBAs, and it makes you go, gee, maybe it's his time. I watched a VFL game late last year. I think it was Hawkins' final game. Hawk didn't do much, but Knevitt had ridiculous clearance, tackles, and possession numbers. Are you able to flick back to the CBA slide?
Sure, man.
I'd love to get your thoughts. We can't doubt that Knevitt's had a huge preseason and they gave him exposure in the pracky, but where's he fit in? Where's he fitting in here? You're normally looking for a starting 5 mids, and you'll get the occasional guy who chimes in. But we've already said Smith, Holmes, Dangerfield. Does he come in at number 4 there? Does he overtake a Bruin? Does he overtake Atkins? I don't know. What do you reckon?
Been in there a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's at 4th mid in a fully fit side. I think he probably swaps with Bruin or Atkins on the wing, half forward. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Or Jai Clark. But there's plenty of mouths to feed.
Yeah.
The real question is, who didn't play against Hawthorn here? Because obviously he's got the opportunity. Were there any missing from that game? Did Danger play? Did Bruin play?
Danger just cruised around at half forward, really. He doesn't give a stuff about practice games this time of year. Bruin, I didn't recall a huge impact from him, but he was definitely out there. Clark is a non-factor. He's a bit of a worry as a Geelong supporter at the moment. Guthrie won't feature. Blitzarves is every chance to go back if Koning plays ruck. So, look, I can see it working, but I must admit it's surprised me. I didn't expect to see him be this buzz guy. But at his best, he's a tall, big-bodied mid who gets his hands dirty, and at a good price.
He has 2-minute stints where he looks like the Bond. I think Chris Scott probably sees that. All right, this guy, he could be anything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I bloody hope he does.
Yeah. Because he looks unreal. When he gets the opportunity, you don't see it too often, but then he does these things like what you said in the VFL last year. You go, oh, who is this bloke? Like, where's this form coming from? So one that I really want to get another look at could easily move him to somebody else. He's elevated, so yeah, it could bring in an Erasmus if he's named and say a bit more coin. Not quite sure yet, but I do have him. Have you got Knevitt on your bench or in your side, or you sort of
he sort of popped in and popped out. Sort of whether it's like a Langford or an Erasmus, like just depending how I felt about a couple of guys. Like Langford's locked now after yesterday, I reckon. But yeah, he's floated in and out. Probably need to have a good look at him on Tuesday for sure.
Yeah, I'm running like Langford will come on field for Jagger, but yeah, I'm running Knevitt and Kako on the bench. So and Sheldrick, so pretty stacked rookies. I think we're going to need them this year. I think that's where a lot of the money's going to come from. So I really hope Knevitt comes to be a good pick because I can't really see too many. It's starting to get really slim for midfield rookies. So yeah, if Knevitt doesn't get up, we might have to change our structure around. We'll see how we go. I don't mind him as a pick, but yeah, we need to watch him against Essendon. He's a massive player to watch, but all signs are pointing to green flags. So yeah, we love that. We'll see what he can do. Big Bailey Smith, the big recruit, mate. What do you think of Bailey Smith? Surely you're absolutely frothing having this battery and what great exposure it is for the football club. Going to be the face of Cotton On for many years to come. It's the worst kept secret in footy, him going to Geelong, and it's happened. Oh, he's going to get so much opportunity, mate. This 2021 finals form is where it's at. That playing half forward, pinch it in the midfield, just dominating, and he was unbelievable. That's him at his best. Did his ACL, and then didn't return, did he? I think he was fit, but he never really returned to the level. Didn't end too well, but he's going to get opportunity at the Cats, mate. 16 touches versus the Hawks, and that's only playing a half of the game. So 58 fantasy. He probably round that off to 70 Supercoach at half time, on track for 140 if all things go to plan. And that's with a kicking efficiency of 44%. So you could argue it should have been a higher score, and he's a highly owned player. Can you antipod him, mate? Is there a world where you cannot pick Bailey Smith?
Nah, you'd be crazy. You'd be crazy if you did. You just lock him. You just lock and load him. Look, his ball use, it's probably something that even at the Dogs at times were like, gee, he covers the ground well and everything, but does sometimes, I wouldn't say he butchers it, but sometimes he's like a bit careless with the footy. Like, I don't know, just he's not
bit aggressive, like goes for those kicks that probably aren't on.
Yeah.
But when they work, they look good. But high risk, high reward turnovers and stuff. So high impact player.
I think we'll see an average around that 22, like 2022. I think it'll be around that high 90s. If it all clicks for him, it could be in the hundreds, for sure.
Yeah. What do you? Yeah. Is that so? You think he does? Do you think he does 100?
Yeah.
I think he averages. I reckon he can. I reckon he can go 105.
Yeah.
I reckon that's a big call, but
you wouldn't get any arguments from me, mate.
He's having the preseason of a lifetime. He's mentally, he's really fresh and ready to go. He needed that start. I know he just had to get out of that football club, and it's worked out for him. And he's getting played into position. And obviously, that's a couple of more seasons older than he was from there. So, yeah, he's 25 years old and in the prime of his career. So he's the biggest lock, I reckon. And people batting their eyelids going, 44% efficiency is not great. It is a practice match, and no one's perfect in the pracky matches. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah.
So I think you can really. The reward's too good. Like $389K. I think he's a keeper. I think he's top six forward.
I agree.
To really say.
100%. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, I think you'll see him, dish off a kick and just follow up and get a handball received. Like, there'll be so many times where he's involved 2 or 3 times across a full score involvement. Like, he's just covering the ground so well. So yeah, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. I think he's just a lock, as you said.
Yep. Throw away the key for Bailey Smith. He's not going anywhere unless there's a niggle, but we doubt it. Real quick one here. Just thought we'd mention him. Had a great hit out. He's the Messi of AFL, isn't he? Brian Myers. Yeah, he's a goal assist king. And can he be relevant at the price, or we just skip past it?
Yeah, not for classic. I reckon a handy draft pick, and I think that average of 81 will lift slightly, but 5 to 10 points would be an instant, because he's still pretty he's virtually a small forward that gets pretty high up the ground. But capable of averaging 90, but not one for classic, but a good watch for a Cats fan.
Yeah, there's too many forward options, and I think the last one here is Jack Martin. So he's pretty interesting because he's extremely cheap and he's capable of like playing some really good footy, but just injuries have gotten the best of him. So yeah, is he someone that you could see enter your side if we don't get a Joe Berry or a Dan Curtin? Like, do you reckon he can play? I don't know too much about him, but
I'd be stunned if he was in our team early parts of the year. I think he's, with that body, he did play VFL practice match the other day just to kind of get him through. So I think he's just behind the pack. Like he would be coming from a long way back to debut for Geelong. I feel as if could be a handy downgrade at some point in the year if he gets going, but not one that I've considered for a starting spot.
Nah, I couldn't do it. The body just doesn't hold up too well at all. So happy to pass on him. But I think that's everyone. I'm not sure if there's like any other players that have appealed some sort of interest for you. I can't think of any.
No. I reckon we've covered off pretty nicely there, mate. There's a bit to talk about as a Cats. Like, hasn't always been the case for us, but there's a few very interesting watches. Chuck the KO on Tuesday night and have a good look at a few of those guys, I reckon.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Obviously, being a Dons man, it should be be a good watch. I don't know why we always play Geelong.
Yeah,
both in the home and away season and over the pre-season, we always play you guys down there. So I'm not sure what the go is with that. But
stitch up.
But yeah, I think yous are going to be unreal this year. Like you can never count out the Cats. They're such a good team to go for. They've had so much sustained success, and it's amazing how relevant they are despite having the round 3 bye. So that's interesting to me, and I hope a few of these players get up. So we'll see.
Yeah, no.
How many Geelong players have you got on your side? If I may ask.
Yeah, let's have a look. I had what have we got?
I reckon 3. I reckon I got 3.
Yeah, right now I've got 3. Yeah, so look, Knevitt currently is in the team, but right now Smith and Holmes and O'Sullivan. So 3.
Smith. Yeah, I've got Smith, Knevitt, and O'Sullivan. So I've only got 3 as well.
Yeah.
So no Holmes for me, but every chance to come in. It just depends on the Mills situation. How many round 3 bye players can you have in defence?
Yeah.
For me, but we'll see. Have you got Mills as well?
Yeah, I do.
So you're looking. So you're looking at the 3 bye players.
Yeah,
does that scare you a bit, or?
Oh, like a little bit. Yeah, I mean a little bit. Like it's a hard. I always find the buys difficult. I mean, it's 1 week of a full season. Does that totally offset what'll be a really good pick for the other 22, 23 rounds? I don't know. Like, it could. Of course, I'm not going to go nuts on a whole heap of buy guys, but if we can cover it's best 18 and it is round 3, so you'd like to think you've still
got the flex.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You'd like to think you've still got 28, 29 or 30 players contributing. So, I'm sort of without going crazy on buy players, I sort of think, well, look, if they're a good pick and we can just get by in a buy round, then I might do it because I'll be rewarded every other week of the season. But we might just cop some pain that round. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, I don't think I've got a single premium with an early buy.
Yeah,
I'm sort of sort of targeting them as they go, like not being stubborn and not picking like a Will Day and a Nick Dacos, like really shunning these guys just because of that, and being able to jump on them later on. It's a dangerous game to play, but it's like you can't have them all. And like, do you have many early buy players? So you got Holmes. Are you still running with Dave? Because I know you're pretty hot on him for.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with him, mate. I've still got him. Like I'm running with Will Ashcroft. Yeah, I love Will Ashcroft as well. So LDU, mate. Yeah, yeah. Look, we are trying. I've mentioned it before, but we're trying to go a little bit different this year. But yeah, it's hard. The buys, it's a different game now, isn't it? It's a different game to what we used to play. The buys throw a very different element when it comes to selecting.
It's a weird game now, isn't it?
Does my head in? Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of it. I miss the 30 trades and
me too.
Yeah, no early buys. It's you stick to your player all season. He's out for like 2 or 3 weeks. You just hold him.
Yeah.
I kind of miss that defensive aspect. But now it's such an aggressive game. It's chaos. It's like this guy's out for a week. Let's piss him off with this player. Let's this guy's played a terrible round 1 game. Let's sideways trade him. Like it's absolutely chaotic now.
And then it gets to round 18 and it's like, oh shit, I don't have any trades, like I got to start saving trades. It's like, yeah, well, you were so impulsive at the start of the year, like it's
so guilty.
Almost,
we all were. So bad at it.
Absolutely.
We're like professional content creators, and we're sideways trading like Grundy, Martin, Young. Like
I know.
So lessons were learnt, mate. But I really can't wait for the season to kick off. It's gonna be it's gonna be good. It's real business end of the season now. So obviously, the practice matches kick off in a couple of days, and then the following week is round 0. I want to say. So we're gonna have footy. Like it starts now. It's practice matches, round 0, and then the real stuff kicks off. So, buddy, can't wait for it, mate. It's gonna be so exciting.
It's exciting, mate, and we've got to finally lock in on some things. We've been speculating for a while, but it's sort of now that you're like, oh, he's not gonna actually play. I've probably got to make some actual changes. So reality's starting to hit hard, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to jumping on the app straight after this podcast and figuring out what to do about Jagger. I mean, it's heartbreaking. You feel so bad for the young man. I mean,
I know
he's probably the number 1 draft prospect behind Ashcroft, I reckon. I would have had him. I would have had him before Finn O'Sullivan for sure. He's a ball magnet, and he's covered. He looks so good in the preseason, like dominating like Carlton's preseason. All matched him. Had a good game, and the injury was pretty catastrophic.
It's just cruel, isn't it? So obviously, Carlton fans will be feeling that brutally, and was looking forward to seeing him play, not just for Supercoach, but he's such an exciting player. So that's very disappointing. So I'll be doing the same, mate. I'll be rejigging on the app after this. I think
it probably makes Chera a bit more relevant, like.
True, that's a good point.
Only more mid-minutes for Chera. It sounds bad saying that against obviously Jagger, but Chera's been in and out of my team. Might have to bring him back now after this. Because I'm almost fielding like 4 rookies in the midfield, which I was pretty fine with now. But obviously it may as well be 5 because I've got to improvise. So now it's looking a bit thin in the midfield rookie department. So probably need to tinker around the structure. But I'm not really sure yet. We'll see what happens. It's a headache.
There's a few have gone down. I've just remembered that fun feeling of just pain that Supercoach can cause you, and just that anxiety of not being quite happy with your current team. It just doesn't sit well with me,
There's like 30 or 40 players I'm really keen on. You can't have them all, but
I
want them all. I want them all.
I know.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens. But...
Yeah, we will. No, thanks for having me on too, mate. It's been fun.
Thanks for coming on, man. We love getting you on the potty. Like we did our like team by team comparison, and you're a man that's true to your word. It doesn't really seem like your side's much different. Where I think if we went over my team again, it's completely bloody different.
Yeah,
mate.
really.
Going on. Yeah, mate. It's I can't go a day without making it like pulling the trigger.
Yeah,
At work,
yeah.
I'll just be pulling out my phone, going, "Oh yeah, this rookie's probably a better pick than this rookie. Oh yeah, I might drop
Yeah.
this guy."
It
I
is
can't keep
tempting.
it.
It
Oh, I
really is,
can't.
but no, we'll
I just love
definitely
pulling the
team up.
trigger.
Yeah, we'll have to
Oh
team up in that first month of the season or something like that, and jump on with you and Dr and Janath as well, and whoever you got on, we can have a chat. It'd be good.
yeah. Well, we could even maybe I don't know, like next weekend or something, but get another look at the preseason matches, and we could even do another like team by team comparison.
Mm.
Someone actually put in the comments, so like you should have had like Shorty's team up there as well. I'm not very good
Oh
in the
yeah.
graphics department, and I don't know how I could have actually had like two teams on the same screen. But it'd be
Yeah.
cool if we could have like both of our teams there. Maybe just
Mm.
screenshot it and then like just
Yeah.
go over again, because that did pretty well. That one
Yeah.
it got I think it was like 4,000 views or something.
Yeah.
So people got
Nice.
around it. That's good content. So if I know if you're interested, we could do something like that
Yeah.
again. Like just
Yeah,
a
for sure, mate.
sort
Yeah,
of like a mini
definitely.
team update for both of us, but like
Yeah.
to see where we're at. But
No, I'd be
because
keen on
we're
that, mate.
going different. We both seem to
Yeah.
have pretty different structures, so it makes it really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, we'll be in touch, mate. I'm sure we'll be able to make that work. We'll see what we can do with the tech and graphics. That's beyond us,
Oh,
isn't it?
that's the kryptonite, the weakness. That's where Janath really
Yeah.
comes in strong. Like he's the man. He comes up. Like I can design logos and like I'm good in the graphics department, but in terms of putting it together, oh
Mm.
mate, no idea. Absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Got no clue, mate.
Oh mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you go now. We'll may as well wrap it up. It's been a bit of a ramble this last 10 minutes, but it's always good. It's always
Don't
good
mind that.
banter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
no, thanks for coming on, man. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, more than welcome to feature
no
anytime you
worries.
want. It's great having you on the channel.
Nah, thank you, mate. Thanks for your time. We'll be in touch. Cheers.
Good on you, man. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. And yeah, as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.